We are very proud to announce UMP Trading is an official partner with a proven profit track record.
Yeah, if you want great returns on your investments, be sure to check out UMP Trading.
Hello, welcome back to everyone that's tuned into our channel again. Here we are, American Ultra Stock. Today I'm joined by Braden and Shrey making his comeback. The party animal Shrey, college version Shrey is back here. But we're going to give you guys a really fun video in my opinion. We're going to predict our picks for our best player, like the start of the season, the highest goal scorer, breakthrough player, youngster, all sorts of predictions for the American, obviously focusing on American players. At home or abroad, regardless, we are predicting the American seasons. I'm just going to get started straight to the point. The start of the season, in my opinion, is going to be Captain America himself. Pulli is going to be back at Milan. We saw his debut. I really enjoyed that. I put him on my stock watch. I thought he was going to do well. Now a game against Torino at home, he's going to be on fire the entire season, in my opinion. He's my star man. And who's going to be yours? Who's going to be the protagonist for the Americans, Braden?
Yeah, well, I don't want to be boring and pick the same player, but Pulisic's exactly who I had too. I mean, after his debut, I don't think you could argue for anyone else. I mean, obviously, hopefully most of our 18 players have good seasons, and I think that they will for the most part, but Pulisic, I think, is really going to return to that lockdown Chelsea form. Maybe not as good, but he's going to be a key part for our season this year for AC Milan, and then heading into the Copa America next summer. I think he can really get back on track, and he'll be really dangerous after a great season going into the summer. And if he can do this, I think that really boosts our chances next summer.
Absolutely. It's something you'd love to see. And what about you, Shrey? Who are you picking? Are you going with the same player?
Yeah, it has to be Pulisic. Thank God he's out of Chelsea. All right, let's just think about this. Chelsea sold Pulisic, and they have Mudryk. Like, that's absolutely insane. Like, Mudryk's not even going to score 5 goals in the Prem this year. I'm calling it right now. Not even 5 goals, all right? Pulisic's going to go off. He's going to get, like, 15 goals this season. He's going to be our best player. And listen, we're making the semis of the Copa at least. I'm calling it right here. He's going to go insane. And, yeah, he's going to be our best player for sure.
That's the energy I like. I like getting diluted too, and because I always said semifinals for Copa America. I don't think it's delusion. I legitimately believe we can do that. But you mentioned goals, Trey. Let's get to the highest goal scoring American for the season. I'm going with a guy that you predicted, Trey. So I kind of feel bad. I'm copying you here. Josh Sargent started on fire, and I feel like he's going to do really well. Brandon looks disappointed. Are we going to have a boring segment where everyone agrees again?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense because the way he started the season, I mean, he's been in the championship team of the week the last 2 weeks. And yeah, he's just got off to an absolute flyer. And it's similar to last season, I think, because the first half of the season before the World Cup, he was up there. I think he was tied for the Golden Boot lead in the championship, but he did kind of fall off the second half of the season. So it'll be interesting to see this season if he can keep up the form for the entire year instead of just half. And I think without Teemu Pukki, with him being the main striker, I think he can definitely do it. And Norwich looked really good as well this season. I think it's a huge improvement on last year where they definitely underwhelmed, I think it's fair to say. And I think they're going to be back up fighting for promotion again. And if they do get promoted, I think it's all going to be down to Sargent.
All right, I was going to pick Maurice Malone, so maybe it would have been less boring because I think that guy is amazing. He's really underrated, and it's about his level to Swiss League. It's going to be a good season for him as well. He's my player going around just behind Sargent. What about you, Shrey? Are you backing your boy that you said would score 20 goals?
All right, I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit. I'm going to have 2 players right here. It is cheating, but I'm going to have 2 players. So yeah, first one is Josh Sargent. I said he's going to score 20 goals in the championship this season, since he's finally starting up top. And just look at him right now. 3 games, 2 goals. He's been absolutely incredible for Norwich. Hopefully they go up. If they go up, he's going to be a key part of their team. And yeah, so Sargent's my first player. And my second player is Balogun. Purely if this Monaco move goes through. I kind of am disappointed that he's going back to Ligue 1, but I think he's going to be absolutely incredible for Monaco. Monaco are a team that's really good at developing. And, you can look at players that they've developed like Mbappe and so many others. So, yeah, I'm going to go Balogun if he moves to Monaco, but if not, I'm 100% going with Josh Sargent. He's going to go insane this season.
All right, those are great picks. Now for breakthrough player, the criteria really varies here. In my opinion, I've said in the past I thought Tasman had a breakthrough season last year because that warranted interest from lots of Serie A clubs. Venezia is doing their best to keep him. I think he'll be instrumental for their season again, but I don't want to be boring and pick Tasman again. In my opinion, he already broke through, obviously, for the national team, not yet. So I'm going with Malone. I think that his season at Basel is going to warrant him a move to Fiorentina next year because Fiorentina loves Basel players for some reason, and they will likely need another striker. They always have a striking problem, so I'll pick him. What about you, Braden?
Yeah, so I was going to go for Lucas Pukstas here, but his injury to start the season really hampered things, unfortunately. I mean, it sucks to see such a young player getting injury, especially when he was coming into the form of his career. But instead, I'm going to go for Leonard Maloney. I think similarly to Tessman last year, he's kind of a player who hasn't really been on the radar. And I think going into his first season as a player in the Bundesliga, obviously he was with Dortmund's youth team, but he didn't really play for them at all. And with Heidenheim as a newly promoted team, I think if he can show himself as one of the best players in their team, I don't think it really matters if they stay up because some team could just fight him. And as long as he can prove himself in the league, because there's going to be way more eyes on him because let's be real, no one from our coaching staff is watching the second Bundesliga. But now that he's in the big time, I think more eyes are going to be on him. And if he can impress, he'll definitely warrant a call-up, especially with Tyler Adams a little injured right now, and we don't really have a true backup six yet.
Yeah, that's a great shout. It is a position up for grabs. What about you, Shrey?
Yeah, I'm kind of cheating right here because my player had a breakout season last year. It's Malik Tillman. So obviously we know last year he had a great season for Rangers, scored like 13 goals in all competitions, got like 3-4 assists. So again, a really good season for his first professional season. But the reason I'm saying breakthrough is because he's kind of been snubbed off of the last few rosters. So he's at PSV now. He'll be with Pepe. He's going to be the Xavi Simons replacement. I think it's a really, really good move. He hasn't been playing for them right now, but I think it's only a matter of time. And I don't think he'll get quite to the level of Xavi Simons, but like this past season that Simons had, but I think he can have a great season. I think he's a player that will definitely be in consideration for future call-ups and definitely cement himself as a depth player on our team, someone like Luca De La Torre type.
All right, you mentioned a really young player, Tillman. Now let's go to our youngster of the season. Okay, this is bandwagon stuff here, bandwagon FC. I'm hopping on it. Tyler Binden. I'll be 100%. Oh, Brayden looks disappointed. I'll do my second player. That it's gonna be a hot take then. I'll let Brayden expand on Binden, but Cowell. I think Kate Cowell. Everyone criticizes him. He's very inconsistent, but he's up there for me. I'm gonna choose him. I think he's gonna have a good end of the year at MLS and get himself a move. Finally, get a move, which. I mean, honestly, I don't know if it's his level, but for him, it's going to be a good season. I don't see many youngsters. I'm talking real youngsters that haven't really shown. Gio's a youngster, but I'll talk about the fringe ones. I don't see anyone's doing much better than Cowell. So what about you, Brayden?
Yeah, you guys are hopping on my Binden bandwagon. I mean, I like to think that I'm the one who discovered this kid. Honestly, I didn't really see anyone talking about him, but before I found him, he was a trialist at Reading to start the year. They signed him up immediately, coming from LAFC's academy, and he's slotted straight into their starting lineup as an 18-year-old unproven kid who's never played pro in his life. And so far this season, when he's been playing, they haven't lost. They haven't even conceded a goal, and they haven't won a game without him either. I mean, there was only like 2 games before he took the spot in the starting 11, but yeah, what he's doing as an 18-year-old center back playing for his first pro team is honestly unheard of. And if he can keep this up, I think honestly he could be on the USMNT radar as soon as next season. I know we have a lot of better center back options now than we did maybe a year or two ago, but I think he's definitely the future of the position for us. So that's why he's my youngster.
All right, Shrey?
Yeah, I feel like I'm giving really boring answers right here. This one's probably a biased one for sure, but I'm picking Gio Reyna. I think he's going to have a massive season for Dortmund. as we finish second place again. Fortunately, we're going to finish second place. But look, I think he's going to be a massive part of the team for this season. Just returned to training. And look, from Dortmund's first game versus Cologne, there's clearly something missing as a part of this team. It's missing something, and I really think Gio can be that missing piece. And look, he just needs to stay healthy. Hopefully Dortmund uses him in. And if they do, look, he's just come back from training. I think he'll be a vital part of this team, and I think he'll have an excellent season going forward.
All right, that would be nice. It would be nice to see Gio rebound from all the injuries he's had. And talking about rebound, let's pick the comeback player of the year, player that has been out of the radar or got underrated recently. Hopefully we don't have all the same answers here on this one. I mean, plenty of players to choose. I'm going to go with a biased option here. Out of the I idolize this guy now. He's a martyr. Reggie Cannon. I'll pick him as the comeback player of the year. I don't think he's going to come back to the national team just for what he said. But career-wise, I think he's going to go from not getting paid, not getting washed at Boa Vista to, even if it's not Burnley, I think he'll get himself a good move and, you know, solidify himself as the fourth, third, whatever option at right back. What about you, Braden?
Yeah, I think it says a lot about Cannon that despite having his situation with Boa Vista, which we know is probably less than ideal, all the clubs that have been linked to him have been top flight teams in the top 5 leagues, which is really impressive, honestly, to get those links after the situation he's been in. But for me, I'm torn between 2 players, and I think it's 2 that probably had the worst seasons out of our main players last season. It's Brendan Aronson and Serginho Dest. I mean, we don't really need to talk about Dest. We made a whole video about him. But I think at PSV, he can really be revitalized, and I think it's really lucky that Van Aanholt got injured right when he joined, because he's taken the left back spot, and his combination with Noah Long down the left hand side, I think, is really dangerous, especially in the Eredivisie. It's going to cause a lot of problems to the defenses, and I think he can keep that spot and run with it, honestly. And then for Aronson, I mean, we saw what happened with Leeds. I think he needs to be playing in the right system, and from what I've seen from Union Berlin, the system's perfect for him. Lots of pressing, high energy. He likes to go forward a lot, and I mean, we saw the impact he had instantly, less than a minute in, with a great pass to the assist for their first goal in their first Bundesliga game. So I think those 2 will hopefully bounce back this season, and hopefully they'll both be playing in the Champions League as well. Dest and PSV just need to finish the job against Rangers.
All right, now those are great picks. Players that, I mean, Aronson getting clapped off the field was really nice to see. It probably help him with his confidence. Who will get the plaudits from you, Shrey, and will be the comeback player of the year?
I've got an absolutely shocking pick. Probably the most shocking of this entire video. I'm going with Caden Clark. I don't think you guys expected to hear that one. Yeah, I know. Absolutely shocking pick. Look, there's something in this kid. Like, I know you guys are going to call me crazy. I just think there's something there. I think he can be that pre-appendicitis 2021 Caden Clark. When he was breaking out, that's when Leipzig bought him. I know it hasn't been going well. Leipzig might terminate his contract, but it looks like he'll be going to Minnesota on loan. Minnesota's a really bad team. He's from Minnesota. I think going back home could be useful for him. You know, he could be missing home. It could be something like that. You know, I think being back home, being for a really bad team, just a new change of scenery and going a level down, I think he's going to have a really good season. And yeah, this is an absolutely crazy pick. Like, believe me, I know what I'm saying, but I don't know. I think that there's a gut feeling that I just see something in the sky. So I'm going with Caden Clark.
All right, going to a player that is back in MLS. Now let's pick our domestic player, you know, that plays in MLS or USL. I mean, if someone wants to get really creative to have a good season, I'm going to pick John Token, mainly because I don't think that he's going to be an MLS player by next season. I think he'll do enough, and he's had some interest in the past. He needs to improve drastically, in my opinion, in some aspects of his game. Not just defending in itself, I think positioning and being able to anticipate what the attackers are going to do. But he has the engine to do that. He has the creative eye as well. So I'll pick him mostly as well because I might pick how I use them for the youngster so we don't repeat everything. What about you, Brayden? Who's going to shine at home?
Yeah, just touching on Caden Clark a bit, I honestly think that if Leipzig terminate his contract, that could be the best thing for his career. Because if not, he's going to have to wait and not play at all until January. And by then, the MLS season will be done, and then he'll have to wait another 2 months before actually starting to play again. So I think if his contract is terminated, he can start right away, finish the season strong, and really look to bounce back there. But my MLS player it's a difficult one because we're already more than halfway through the MLS season, and honestly, no one's really been standing out to me. I'm going to just go for Walker Zimmerman. I think he's been immense at the back for Nashville. He was a huge part of their run to the Leagues Cup final where they did lose to Inter Miami. Check out our Leagues Cup video if you haven't already. And yeah, I think for the rest of the Nashville season, he's going to be their key player, him and Hani Mukhtar. And I mean, hopefully we can be talking about Hani Mukhtar as a U.S. player soon. But for now, I think Zimmerman is probably the best out of, I think it's fair to say, a fairly weak bunch so far. So, yeah.
All right, completely fair. What about you, Shrey?
Yeah, kind of like Braden's been saying, we're almost done. Not almost done, but we're mid-season in MLS. No one's really been showing out that well. But I'm just going to go for Brandon Vasquez. And look, he hasn't had the best start in terms of MLS, but he's really been picking it up with his Leagues Cup form, and recently scored a goal in the Open Cup. So, yeah, against Miami. So he's been picking up form. Hopefully he can have a good end to the season, score like 10 goals in the MLS season. He's got like 5 now, so hopefully he can score like 7, 8 more. So, yeah, I'll just go for Brandon Vasquez.
All right, yeah, it's fairly tough to pick an MLS player that's American that's going to shine. But now let's pick, this is a juicy part of the video, the flop of the season, where I'm pretty sure we're going to have disagreements. Okay, when I told my wife here what player I was going to choose, she thought I was out of my mind. Everyone's going to think I'm out of my mind. I'm going for Gio Reyna. I think that he's going to be the biggest flop in terms of stock of an American player this season. Why? Because he's going to get injured for more than half of the season, in my opinion. I can see it coming. Unfortunately, I think he's one of the I would say this, the highest ceiling player we have, in my opinion. But the guy just doesn't get enough consistent game time. Look at his age, and he can't put a single season together. It's starting to piss me off. I'll pull a Jeff here and be emotional about it. He's pissing me off. And I don't think that he's going to have a good season at all. He's going to have good moments when he plays, and then, he's going to get injured again, back to the bench. 6 games without really playing. 2 games he comes on, looks really nice, starts a game, wow, what a great match, injured again, and so on. What about you, Braden? Who's going to flop this season?
Yeah, it's never nice to wish injury on a player, but you do have a good point. I mean, he's definitely made of glass. I think him and DK are probably the most injury-prone players we have in our player pool right now. But for me, and I know this might be a bit of a hot take since Trey mentioned him earlier, as a positive player, but I'm going to pick Malik Tillman. I mean, he hasn't got a single minute yet for PSV after getting given the number 10. That's really concerning for me. I mean, it shows that clearly he hasn't been doing what it takes in training, and clearly the coach just doesn't really rate him too highly. And he's getting outplayed by 18-year-old Isaac Babadi, who has kind of come out of nowhere and taken that 10 role, which was up for grabs by storm. Honestly, he's had a great start to the season. I don't see him giving up the spot to Malik anytime soon. So yeah, it's going to be for him. And honestly, you could probably throw Pepe in here as well, because he doesn't seem to be starting anytime soon either. I mean, Luke de Jong has that spot unlocked, but I think for Pepe it's okay because they clearly rate him, making him, I think, one of their highest ever signings. He's clearly the future there, but for Malik, since he's just on loan, I don't think he has a future there. And yeah, I just don't think he's going to live up to the hype this year.
Yeah, that's a good point. They even had the friendly against Monaco, and I think Malik only got 30 minutes off a friendly, a meaningless friendly, so that's always concerning. What about you, Shrey? Who's going to flop? Do you agree with my take, by the way? I'm just kidding.
I do not at all. I completely disagree with that take. I think Gio's going to go off. I completely disagree with that take. But on to my player. I'm actually going to go for Ricardo Pepi. Braden mentioned him as a possible option. And the reason I'm going to say this is because, look, he's not going to start this season, which it's not the end of the world in my opinion. But look, Luke de Jong has the spot unlocked. I think he has really high expectations from USMNT fans mainly. I think USMNT fans saw the season at Groningen last year and are expecting him to score like 15, 20 goals. in the Dutch league this season. I don't think that's going to happen. And look, which is okay. It's okay that I think he'll start playing more from the season after, maybe later. But look, just due to the fact that USMNT fans have huge expectations on Pepe for this season, I do think he's going to be a flop in most of our eyes. And yeah, I do think Sargent's going to overtake Pepe just for this season. So yeah, he's my flop.
All right, that was a really nice video to record. We had some complications with internet, but it was amazing. Thank you, Braden. Thank you, Shrey. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Please let us know ideas for videos for the upcoming weeks. We're really liking to see the channel constantly growing. It's really nice to have all of you guys here. Make sure that you check out our support as well. It's going to be in the description. Thank you so much. And we appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you, Braden. Thank you, Shrey. We'll see you guys next time. Like, share, and subscribe.